Welcome to Bay Rats and Buoys with your host, Captain Gaige.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Bay Rats and Buoys. I'm your host, Captain Gaige. This is episode number 26. Wow. That means we're bringing season 1 of Bay Rats and Buoys to a close today. This will be the best way to close it out here in the studio because next week starts Bay Rats and Buoys season 2, and I am going to be sitting on the boat, and I cannot wait. I can't believe we're just 5 days away from opening day for striped bass. We've been talking about it all winter. It's finally here. And speaking of countdowns, we're officially 73 days away from Bay Rats and Buoys' first annual Striped Bass Invitational going down on Sunday, June 22nd. Make sure you head over to stripedbassinvitational.com and register your boat today. Get registered for that tournament as soon as you can. And guys, there's a lot going on. It's crazy. This time of the year it starts to really ramp up. It really does. I was down at the marina last week. I went down, I brought the camera down. I figured let me make a couple of videos from here on the dock, which I did. And there were only 2 boats in for wet storage in my marina, and we had 2 towboats in the water, you know? So that was cool to see that it's starting to unravel. It's all starting to unwrap and get ready for the season. But it was dead. It was, there were people fishing in the harbor. You know, there were boats passing by. I saw guys out there fishing. People have already needed to be towed for the season. It's unbelievable. So you never know what this season's going to bring. We really don't. Is it going to be a crazy boating season? Is it going to be busy out there? We don't know. You never know. Starts off slow. I can tell you that. In April, you all expect to get down there and see it, and things are slowly happening. People are starting to get their boats in. They don't usually get in until mid-May, okay? And April is usually iffy weather-wise. So you're really going to be, if you are fishing, you're going to get your sporadic moments, and hopefully you can get out on those days and do it. But, and I'd like to say even May, I always told people, even back when I was running the Freedom Boat Club in Northport, you were lucky to get 2 weeks of boating in May. The season for them opened up May 1st, but you weren't able to get a boat out every day in the month of May. The weather is not, it's going to be blowing. There's going to be rain. It's not going to be like what we get in June and July and August, where it's a lot warmer and a lot nicer. So we'll see what Mother Nature brings. Right now, I know I'm getting out there Monday and Tuesday of next week. All right, and I will let you guys know what we're using, what we're throwing. And springtime, I usually like to start off small, But last year, I could tell you we had charters on the 15th and the 16th, and color really mattered. Like, even a tandem rig that was out, when we were looking for them and we were trolling, they would not hit a tandem rig. But if you put out that same color that the tandem rig was in a single, it was nonstop. It was just getting hit one after the other. It was incredible, but they wouldn't hit the tandem rig. So that was kind of finicky and cool to see, but it's in the captain's log. I just read about it. And why? Why is that? They wouldn't touch chartreuse. April 15th, they were only hitting white. So when I get out there early spring and we're looking for them, we didn't even see them on the sonar that day, and we were catching them. So we didn't even see the fish. We didn't see any birds. We didn't see anything jumping out of the water. There was no activity. So on days like that, you're going to have to hunt around and take looks in the areas that you know they're going to be. And this time of the year, in my area, I know there's places to go and throw into shallow water. We know where they're going to be. We know where there's holdover fish, but we were catching over slots on the 15th and 16th of last year in the past 2 years. And I'm always curious as to see how that water temperature affected what it is and where it is compared to what it was last year and get all those notes going. So I can't wait to get out there Monday and Tuesday. All that stuff matters to me. But it looks like we're going to have some good weather at the beginning of the week. I may actually pull the boat out after fishing Monday and Tuesday just to get something done to it. So that's how much fishing Monday and Tuesday means to me. You know, I'm going to put it in, go out, fish, and maybe pull it out and get something done. Or I cannot fish Monday and Tuesday and just hand the boat off and let my buddy do what he's got to do for me. And if any of you guys know me, I'm going fishing Monday and Tuesday. There's no stopping me. Nothing. Even if there's high winds, whatever it is, you're going to see me out there. I'm going to find those back bays and get on some fish. So hopefully I'm holding up some pictures of some springtime striped bass next week. Also, on our social media feeds, we will be going live on TikTok. I don't know if I'm going to be doing live on Facebook. We do our TikTok live from the boat. And we're going to grow that audience like we always do. It's a lot of fun that people can comment and do some cool stuff. And we interact with people. But we are going to be doing a lot of social media posts showing you what we're throwing, what they're hitting on. So you go ahead and hit that follow button, like us, jump on the YouTube channel. Facebook, obviously. Listen, remember at my birthday, I had 1,200 people. Now it's up over 2K. There was definitely something wrong with the Facebook feed, 100%. And now it's up over 2,000 people following because of Bay Rats and Buoys. Now, I got a couple of different channels. You know, I got Captain Gaige, I got Bay Rats and Buoys, I got the Sand City Charter. So there was a bunch of social media feeds. And instead of centralizing it all to just one, because then you're going to lose out on what you've created and grown, we have spawned off into a couple of different ones. So the best way to check me out and check out what we're doing is to head over to sandcitycharter.com and follow the links there. I'm going to make sure I got all the social media links up on the site this week so that next week you guys could all follow along. Bay Rats and Buoys, lots going on. We got a lot of people to thank, a lot of things happening. But first and foremost, we're going to announce in the next week what the grand prize money is going to be. And that is all thanks to Matt over at J&M Seafood in East Northport. They're located at 248B Larkfield Road. If you're in the need of any good seafood, he's got a great shop. And I'm going to be in there filming shortly to show you some of the stuff for sure. So they are our sponsor for the grand. They are the grand prize sponsor of Bay Rats and Buoys' first annual Striped Bass Invitational. So super excited. Thank you, Matt. And a lot of great things happening, like Tony Maja today. If you follow them on Instagram, I believe it's Tony Maja Products. That's their handle. They posted the video for the Bay Rats and Buoys tournament today. So they posted that video. So any of the sponsors and guys that we're collaborating with all have the video to post on their own end to collaborate back with us and share it at some time throughout the springtime here. So you're going to see that on a bunch of different feeds out there. And that's great. We really appreciate it. So thank you, Tony. We are grateful. And we've commented back in the post. And again, just a reminder, get your boats registered, guys, because the tournament is filling up. Things are going really good. Super excited. Bay Rats and Buoys. I pulled up to my daughter's school this week, and the security guard said to me that he filled out a form to get a sticker. He never got the sticker. And I was like, wait a second. So that's possible. Anything's possible. So I went back. I looked. I still didn't find it. Anyway. So there's stickers from the boat show. We're still giving away a ton of stickers. And we're going to get them out to the tackle shops, drop them off. There's links on there to follow us on the YouTube channel. And make sure you get your CTO memberships, guys. That is important. Tommy just came in the office here, came into the studio, and he's like, yo, I bought this $25,000 Sea-Doo. He got a nice wave runner. And I was like, bro, I tow a lot of them, so make sure you get a CTO package. You know, make sure you get your membership. That's the truth, you know. It's a jet engine, suck something up into that impeller. And happens all the time. I tow a lot of those. And it's not that they, there's a lot of new technology on them now. So it's really cool how they're cooled, how they protect stuff from getting into the impeller and all that stuff. So the new technology, they have brakes. I mean, geez, in 98 when I had a Bombardier, they didn't have brakes on them. These things were going 65. Now they go 81 miles an hour. They're supercharged, and they got turbos, and it's just incredible. But again, my recommendation to him was take the course, just be safe out there. Just because you have a fast piece of machinery on the water doesn't mean you need to go fast. The conditions dictate how fast you should be going. And I don't think I'd be going 81 even when it's flat glass, to be honest with you. You fall off those things, it doesn't exactly, you don't just splash down into the water, you bounce across it like it's concrete. I know from experience, so I'm just passing that on. Be safe out there, guys. It's all about safety. So, big shout out to the Fisherman Magazine. There's my daughter on the cover from 2 years ago. So that's why this is on the counter here. If I don't have my up-to-date edition here, there's always a picture of my little angler. My kids allow fish me any day of the week. It's unbelievable. I don't know if it's luck. It's definitely not more skill. I think it's definitely luck. But they always seem to win. And we're very competitive. Maybe that's why I'm throwing a tournament, you know? I always say that. You know, we're all very competitive. The smack talking for the tournament is hysterical already. It really is. The guys in my marina, I haven't even seen them down there yet. Their boats aren't even in the water. This is all online. So imagine when we're seeing each other on a daily basis, what's going to be happening. And I can't wait. So next week I'm in the water. And I'll be happy to share with you guys. You know, a lot of times I'll go into the back bays and throw small half-ounce white bucktail, you know, on really super light tackle because you're going to target smaller fish back there. You know, and just see what the sizes are, see what's back there. Even tag some of the rats that are back there, which is, you know, we're going to do a lot of tagging. And for the tournament, we're going to show you guys how to tag. This way, anybody that is entering the tournament and you do want to get involved in the tagging division, because you can select that in the form. When you fill out the form, you say, yes, I'm going to tag fish. Yes, I need tags. And boom, done. You're in. So that's really, and then there's also an area to fill in whether you need gas or diesel. And obviously diesel is green and gas is red. And these will be in the product-sponsored buckets thanks to Clicks Fueling. Clicks is a fix. So I will be using this red one come next week. I will show you in a video how this works and why I need it on my boat and why I have it. So that'll be next week. Very excited to see the guys at the fuel dock. I was down there, like I said, midweek, and the fuel dock wasn't even open. There were no boats in the marina next to me. There were 5 boats in my marina. And they're starting to get the boats that are wrapped up and in the way unwrapped. And all the marinas, usually April 7th, they get winter storage out. Because by the 15th, you're going to get a lot of the fishing guys that come in that want to fish to start the striped bass opener. So that's all happening now, guys. It's a nice little buzz. I was down at Yamaha, Britannia, talking to Keith this week, and you know, shop's picking up, starting to get busy. You guys need to get some of your reels done and get spooled up, and I'd get them in. I'd get them into the tackle shops. You know, a lot of times I bring my stuff down to Phil and Mark at Cow Harbor. I drop it off to Phil, and bam, get it done. But I'm all set up. Everything's ready to go. Me and Corey are super ready. Like I said, I'm going to jump on the boat today. I started to take everything off that I don't need on it because I'm going to travel light in the springtime with everything that I need. I told Corey he can't bring his 600-pound tackle bag. He's going to have to downsize to something smaller, which is pretty comical between the two of us. We're laughing and making some fun jokes about that. And last year on the 15th, he was reviving a fish. And, you know, we just didn't throw it back in the water. He's holding it and letting it before he lets it go. And we were filming it, and his hand was getting numb. Because you guys don't realize this time of the year, the water temperature is fatal. It's cold. If you fall in, there's a problem. There's, you know, you are going to be in trouble. You know, so I always recommend having that handheld radio, and don't rely on your phone out there. But man, if you don't have that handheld radio on you and you go in the water and you're by yourself, you're going to be in trouble this time of the year. So safety first. Safety is paramount, guys. And just keep that in mind. You know, guys do fall over. They're messing with their trolling motors. They're pulling the pin. They're trying to put the pin in. They're doing something, and boom. A little wake comes, a big wake comes, or you just lost your balance. God forbid you hit your head and you're in the water and you don't have a life jacket on. Forget about it. So I did see something recently where they found a body in the water. So that kind of sparked me to say, hey, I just got to bring it up again. And we've had an episode where I've discussed it and went over it. But Corey, we were just joking around about it because he said his hand was numb. He went and created a device that now could hold the fish with an extended boga grip. That is a lip gripper that he could hold it in the water and keep the fish before he lets it go and not have to have his hands in the water. So I think that creativity spawned from his numb hand in the water last year. I'll show you the product, too. I'll show it to you in a video next week. Pretty cool. He had it at the Ward Melville show on a fishing rack in our booth for the podcast for the Bay Rats and Buoys. So a lot of people picked it up and looked at it. They thought it was the coolest thing in the world. I mean, his ingenuity and his craftsmanship is second to none. Corey's Customs. And he makes some really cool stuff. And if you need a gaff or any kind of bait nets, it's bamboo, it's epoxied, it just looks awesome. And I'll show off next week in a video my hockey stick that we redid and turned into a fish gaff. Obviously, you're only gaffing the blues, and so, you're not gaffing bass. So last year we really didn't do a lot of blue fishing. We did not. But this year, let's see. I saw somebody post on April Fool's a picture of holding up a bluefish. I thought it was hysterical, and he said he had just caught it. And I thought that was great. And I posted a picture today of Brock. And we all know Brock. He's famous, man. Best captain in the world down in Florida. So I posted up a funny picture of him. We gave him a lot of attention. Everybody made him famous, as they should, because that's a uncalled for incident from anybody that retains a captain's license should know better than to treat another mariner the way that he did. That was just uncalled for. And I think that kid is getting praised left and right. I think he handled the situation fantastic. Instead of escalating it and turning it into a nightmare, he diffused it. And to not have to fight is to win the fight on his end. So I think he did a great job, and kudos to him. But that whole incident recorded on camera that's incredible. So shame on Brock, and he was arrested for it. And we all see that happen time to time out there on the water. We hear a lot of yelling. I hear it all the time, especially in the harbor. It happens. It's boating. So that's why I always say safety is paramount. Just be careful out there. So as we move into the season now, and as we all gear up and get our stuff ready, we're going to start inviting some of the listeners. Now, guys, I'm a charter business. I make a living taking people out fishing. So you want to support a local captain, book a charter. I'm not the only charter in town. There's a ton of them. But support the local charters. Jump on a boat. I was reading in one of the feeds on Facebook, somebody was complaining about prices now my prices haven't changed in 4 years. They've been the same. So I've been very in the competitive right there, same price as everybody else. And that's basically the going rate. And that's it, so we're not getting rich, between the fuel, the bait, the rods and everything and all the stuff that goes into it. No one out there is getting rich taking people out fishing, I'll tell you that. But the reason I mention that is I have a podcast. I have an audience. I have people that listen every week, people that write me a ton of messages and emails, and it's great to see. It really is. So from time throughout, April 15th until November 15th, I am also going to invite listeners of Bay Rats and Buoys. Just like Mark, the security guard at my daughter's school. I'm inviting people on my boat as my guest. So if you want to go fishing, make some comments on the videos and get involved in the social media feed. And that's how you're going to get invited onto the boat. Okay? That's going to be the best way for me to actually speak to you, talk to you, see that you comment, and see that you're listening, seeing you're a fan of the Bay Rats and Buoys. And from time and time again, I'm going to start inviting people to come join us and have some fun with me and Corey out on the boat because, man, do we have a great time. We really do. And a lot of the guys that we fish with on a regular basis, because it's always nice to have a friend that has a boat, not to mention a friend that's a captain that has a boat, that has a charter business, knows where the fish are. Like somebody said, they're going to be on somebody else's boat for the tournament that their buddy registered for the tournament. He has a boat on the South Shore. He also has a boat on the North Shore. So I said, uh-oh, now we got a ringer because my friend is on his boat. And he said, yeah, but he goes, I'd have a much better chance of winning this if I was on your boat. And why do you think he said that? Because when he comes out with me, he catches monster bass. And on flutter spoons, all jigging, top water action, 48-inch fish on top water plugs. It's unbelievable. Is it luck? Yeah, it's probably a little bit of luck. Is there a lot of skill involved? I don't know. I don't want to say there's a lot of skill involved. I just get out there and do my thing. It's kind of like it's my passion. It's what I'm into. It's what I love doing. As you can see, it has spawned down to the younger generation. I mean, these kids are catching sharks the size of me, and you think I'm going to take them snapper fishing? It's not happening. You know, my son was catching striped bass. He's on the cover of the thumbnail of this video. For episode 26, that's my son holding the bass, caught it with a flutter spoon on a day that he was out fishing, all of us on the boat. So it was kind of cool to see. And Kenny and Corey and a whole bunch of the guys, everybody's giving him fist pumps, and he does it all on his own. So it's nice to pass that on to the younger generation. And I love doing it. I love passing the intel on. And I could tell Corey likes it too, because when we have kids on the boat, he's going to make the sea robin bark and make some noise. He's going to do some cool stuff with the fish and teach these kids. And we're going to give them different rods, let them work with different setups and learn different things and see what they like the best. You know, a lot of times you get on a boat, they hand you a rod, and that's your rod for the day. When you come on our boat, we're going to let you try a bunch of different setups so that you can see with the light tackle what we're using and why we use it. And a good example was last year. I had a gentleman come on the boat. It was, I want to say it was one of the last runs. They just moved their April charter to the first week of May. They had to reschedule. And that's something else, guys. We're super flexible. So if you book a charter and it's going to be bad weather or you can't make it that day and we're going to reschedule, we are super flexible because we're fishing 7 days a week. So there's always days for you to get out there and do it. And again, we like to schedule good tides. We're really into this. So it was towards the end of the season, and he's not catching nearly as many fish as other people on my boat. And I said to him, hey, look, you're using your own setup. I get it. You love that rod. That's your rod. Do me a favor. Try this setup. Tell me what you think. I handed it to him with a different lure on it than he was using. And the next thing you know, it's fish on, fish on, fish on, fish on. And he was very grateful that he made the change. I've had kids on my boat, young kids, that they get on. Oh, we need bait casters. Okay, there's bait casters there. And they're fishing with bait casters, and they think it's the greatest thing since sliced bread, because they watch the Bass Pro Tour, and they see these guys whipping bait casters, into the weeds, and they think they're going to do that. There's no need for that on the boat. We're dropping, fish are below us. We're dropping down. There's no need to cast out. But even in that case, I let him switch rods to another rod, and I remember how overwhelmed he was with wow. Now they're taking pictures of the name of the rod. Now they want to go buy that rod. And I'm a firm believer in using good stuff. I believe in anything that I do and use, whether it's a microphone or a headset, backdrop, whatever it is. I'm going to buy the good stuff. I'm going to use it because if you treat it good, it's going to last you a long time. The camera, the tripod, the cases, everything has a case. All the GoPros are in cases. The drones are in cases. Everything has a case. Even my lures. My lures are in cases. Everything's in bags, fishing bags. Because that matters. To me, it does, I do have one more task before next week, is swapping out, me and Corey getting together and swapping out all the treble hooks on our flutter spoons. Now, I don't like using lures that have treble hooks. I'm going to be honest. I don't throw SPs. And I love using Nomad stuff because I love the hooks on them. And I love single hooks. I like squeezing down the barb and making it easy to get the fish off, all that stuff. But we do have to change the treble hooks on our flutter spoons for the season. And we stocked up on those at the Ward Melville show. Mr. Bob Wilson. So it's always nice to throw in a plug for Patriot Fishing and the school and the fishing club that they have. It was great having them on the podcast, and it was great to be at that show this year. Hopefully we will be back next year. We'd like to set up something, do a little podcasting live from there. So we'll figure that all out as we move into next year. Meanwhile, it's time. I am getting out there next week. I will post tons of videos. We'll be live, like I said, on TikTok. For those of you that are just tuning in, Bay Rats and Buoys is hosting its first annual Striped Bass Invitational going down on Sunday, June 22nd. We already gave a big shout out and a thank you to Matt over at J&M Seafood. He is our grand prize sponsor. So next week we will list the amount of money that you will win when you win first prize in the tournament. And if a ton of people subscribe and we get a lot of registrations, those numbers could grow. But in the meantime, at least we have a set amount and it's good. Which is great, and we're super grateful. Sponsors that want to jump in and jump on board and donate products to the tournament and get name recognition here on the podcast, jump on the podcast. Next week, we're going to be on my boat. Season 2, Bay Rats and Buoys, starts next week. I will be sitting on my boat in the marina. In the sun, hopefully. I don't care. Even if I got to wear a sweatshirt and throw a jacket on, I'll just be happy to be sitting on the boat doing the podcast, not in the studio. So I'm pretty amped up about that. And what else do we got going on? You got your tackle. You're all set for the spring. Cleaning the boat. Now, like on the way home, I got to stop at West Marine. I said I have 1 or 2, 3 things I got to pick up. There's a product there that for $15, I got to tell you, it's worth recommending to you. Because if you have any rust anywhere, okay, on your boat because of something metal that was left laying around that caused a rust stain, or you had a screw that wasn't stainless steel that dripped down, that was dripping and it's on the gunnel or, where you put the rods inside, or anywhere that you have any rust, if you buy the West Marine brand for $15, it's the spray of their rust remover. I got to tell you, there's no scrubbing, there's no anything. You spray it on and come back 5 to 10 minutes later, and the rust is not there. So if there's any rust because you left something sitting in your live well and there's a little circle of rust, or you had a can in there, or you had something that caused rust anywhere in your boat, it's awesome. It totally takes it off. I spray it on, I leave it 10 minutes, and then I rinse, and everything's gone. So the boat's on land. I'm going to do that now, spray that stuff. And there's 2 spots that I saw that I had. I'm like, where did that come from? Listen, it happens. So I'm going to get home and clean the entire console area of the boat. That's an area I like to detail and make look nice, stay shiny and clean all season long. And it's covered. So that's what's great about it. Once I do it, there won't be any pollen. Right now, I'm not worried about the trees and the pollen. That's going to happen. Even in the marina, You think you're down in the marina, you're not going to get the pollen. You're in a harbor. There's trees on both sides. I can't begin to tell you. You come down, you see that little layer of green on your boat, and you're like, you got to be kidding me. So you come down in the morning, and you got to rinse the boat off. And usually you're coming down just to dry the morning dew. And that's cool. I don't mind coming down. We get down there early. But that's what people don't realize. They say, price per charter. You don't realize if it's an 8-hour charter, which I got to say thank you to somebody that recently not only booked his full-day charter, but he got a gift certificate to give a charter away at a golf outing. So, you do an 8-hour day. You don't realize that you're there 2 hours before the charter and most likely 2 hours after the charter. So an 8-hour day turns into a 12-hour day. That's a real half a day of fishing. So when I tell my wife I have a half-day charter and the charter is 4 hours, but I was gone for 9 hours because I went fishing after the charter. Me and Corey always go after the charter. We go before, we go after. We're out there all the time. So once people get off the boat, we're like, all right, we're going back out to a different spot. We love prospecting new areas. But you don't realize a half day is 12 hours. So if she thinks I had a 4-hour charter, a half day is 12 hours, honey. What are you talking about? So it's a good excuse to get out there. Good half day of fishing. And that's it. That is the springtime in a nutshell. You got to clean the boat. You got to get stuff ready, get your rods ready. Lot to prep. I got a couple of calls from people asking me to recommend. I recommended Rob from Coast Guard Auxiliary. He's in Huntington. He has his stickers. He can meet you at your boat so you can come to the house. He'll meet you at the dock. He'll inspect your vessel. You get a sticker on your windshield. It goes on the left side, goes on the port side of the boat, and goes in the same spot every year. I just keep stacking sticker on top of sticker on top of sticker. Just changes colors. That's it. And we got the charter. We got the charter sticker. We got new registration numbers going on the boat. We are set. I can't think of anything else. I just want to get a new drain plug. And I like to put it, I put a new one in every season. So it's just one of those things that I don't leave the oil. I throw them every year. I take it out. There's always 1 or 2 on the boat. God forbid it backed out or came out while you were on the boat and you saw water coming in. You got to have something there. You can take a plastic bag. Hell, you can take this magazine and crumble up the papers and stick it in the hole. But a plastic bag works great. You could just take a plastic bag and put it through any of the holes. And it's a good way to clog a quick fix if you needed to, for sure. But hopefully that doesn't happen. And there are going to be guys that put the boat in the water and forget the drain plug. I'm telling you, it's going to happen. And usually it's a good sign if it happens at the dock, at the ramp, and they don't take it off the trailer yet. Because once it's in the water, that drain plug's not in there. That is not a fun scenario. So I'm stopping to pick up a new one every year. I don't like those little push ones that you push in. I obviously have one that's threaded and screws in, and squeeze it as hard as you can, and it's in nice and tight. I got to fix an LED light, so I got to change out. I got to swap out one of my nav lights. We spoke about that. That's so it's just a few little fixes, a few little things. But in the meantime, I'm ready. I even saw a picture of me. I launched a boat last year, and Corey was taking pictures as I'm driving away, taking it over to the ramp. I'm like, I'm not posting those pictures. We didn't even put up the antenna. I'm driving away. The antenna's the lights down up top. And that's another mistake. When you pull the boat out, forgetting to put the antenna down. Me and Jed did that. We're driving the boat home. And I'm like, what's that sound? All the rods are in the back of the bed of the truck. They wouldn't be making any noise. What the hell is that noise? I look out the side view mirror and look up, and the antenna on the top of the boat is hitting all the phone lines as we're driving down the road. Now, why admit that? Why? So somebody else maybe doesn't do it. It happens. And there's somebody laughing right now going, yeah, that happened to me too. I did that. And I heard it from the harbor master how many times his guys have pulled the boat out and forgot to put 2 antennas down, and I got 2 radios on my boat, and I got to add the second antenna this year to the second radio that's up there. I was really running 1 radio last year with 1 antenna, and it's good. It scans multiple channels, but I want to be on specific channels throughout the season. So that's the reason for doing that. And another thing is, guys, I've mentioned it before. I'll close out the show with it, but it's a good time of the year right now before you get busy on the boat is to get your apps on your phone ready, installed, make sure they're working, make sure that you paid for the new version and it's doing it on your Wi-Fi in your house in the comfort of your home, sitting on the couch, that you're not on your boat where the Wi-Fi is horrible and or in the marina, because we all know what that's like. So get your apps and everything situated, whether it be the Coast Guard app. I've always recommended the Navionics app. The Windy app is a great app to have. And all these apps have, in-app purchases where you can buy a better version. You can get the free version, but the minute you want to see the 3D layout and the overlays in Navionics, you're going to have to upgrade into the new version, which when it went from $20 to $50, nobody complained. Really. It's a great app to have. So Coast Guard, Navionics, you could download this. If you have a CETO membership, download the CETO app. The Windy app is great. And then I use Tides for Fishing. Is another great website. The Tides with the number 4, Fishing. You could download the app for that too. And that'll give you the tides in your area if you want to look at a tide in a harbor, or, next to you or in the area or across the way. You could use that. It's very easy to switch up areas. So that's pretty cool. But we start Season 2 next week. Bay Rats and Buoys Season 2 on the boat. We will be excited to be sitting on the boat. And we're going to start having the guests because we told them to come down in the springtime when we launch the boat. It'll be more fun to have them on the boat in the environment, and they're going to come fishing with us. So we're going to do the podcast, and then we're going out fishing, and we'll have some B-roll and some great footage of them catching some striped bass on the boat, and we'll throw it into the podcast and show it all off on social media. Follow us on TikTok, Facebook, Instagram. We're going to be going live. When we're out on the boat, the phone is going to be live showing you what we're doing out there. Early season, what we're throwing, what we're using, what we're catching them on, what they're biting, what they're chewing on, and we'll be tagging them. So we're going to show you guys how to tag them and get ready for the tournament. So go register your boat, Bay Rats and Buoys. Hit us up at stripedbassinvitational.com to register your boat. Or, like I say, you can always head over to sandcitychar.com. This is the closeout of Season 1, Bay Rats and Buoys. Episode number 26 is in the books. I can't believe it. Captain Gaige, wishing everybody bent rods, tight lines, and I'll see you out on the water. Over and out.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Bay Rats and Buoys. Be sure to visit sandcitycharter.com and follow Captain Gaige on all our social media channels.